Microsoft Word offers a great set of tools for building tables. And you can also use Word to modify tables as needed. Here's a look at how Thomas and Westcal made use of these features and tools. Thomas previously created a table in Word to show Westcal's spending in their first fiscal quarter. He now needs to create another table showing the company's spending in their second fiscal quarter. Thomas can create this second table by copying the first one. He can then use Word's table modification tools to update the information in the cells. Microsoft Word's table modification tools are perfect for this task. Using the tools available in Word, you can insert and delete or move and resize rows and columns, customize cell margins, and set table titles. You can also use layout contextual tab commands and use table properties dialog box commands. So how can you use these tools to modify tables? To select a table, place your mouse over any part of the table. Next, click the four-headed arrow icon above the top left corner of the table. You can also click and drag over the table or any of its parts to select it. Or use the Select menu on the Table Tools Layout tab to select a table or its parts. Just as with regular text, selecting parts of a table tells Word what you want to modify. Once you've added a table to Word, you can begin to modify it. Many of the most common modification commands can be found in the Layout Contextual tab. To open the tab, select a table or place your cursor inside one. You can then access the commands as you need them. The Table Group command lets you work within the entire table. Select Draw Group to manually draw a table, columns or rows. You can also access the Eraser command from here. Select the Rows and Columns group to modify the table's rows and columns. Modify cells using Merge Group. Modify row and column sizes using Cell Size Group. Select the Alignment Group command to change how text is displayed in cells. Finally, you can use the Data Group to modify how table data is arranged. Next, check out the Table Properties dialog box. This is where you can find most table settings. First, select the portion of the table that you want to format. Then click Table Tools Layout tab and the Properties command. You can also right-click the table and click Table Properties. The Table Properties dialog box appears on screen. The Table tab is used to set width, alignment, indent, and text wrapping. It also contains commands for the Borders and Shading dialog box. In addition, you can find commands for the Table Options dialog box, which is used to set cell margins and spacing. Select the Row tab to specify the row height and determine if your table can break across pages. In the Column tab, you can specify your preferred column width. Use the Cell tab to specify preferred width and alignment. The tab also contains an Options button, which opens a dialog box. You can use this box to set cell margins and wrap options. And finally, you can use the Alt Text tab to specify alternative text for the table, which will improve its accessibility. You can also modify a table by inserting and deleting or moving and resizing rows and columns. These are simple tasks that you can perform using commands from the Layout Context tab. To insert a row, move your cursor to the beginning of the row, after which you want the new row to appear. Then click the Insert Row icon. You can use the same technique to insert columns. You can find these same commands on the right-click menu of the mini toolbar and the Rows and Columns group of the Table Tools Layout tab. Another method of deleting a row or column is to select all cells with your mouse, then press Backspace on your keyboard to delete them. To delete an entire table, select all cells with your mouse and then press Backspace. We've seen how you can add and delete cells, but how do you move and resize them? To manually adjust the size of rows or columns, click and drag the row or column separator. You can double-click the separator itself if you want Word to fit the row or column to its text. Set the height of rows and the width of columns in the Cell Size group on the Table Tools Layout tab. This can apply to all rows and columns or just those you have selected. The Distribute Rows command makes all selected rows the same height. Distribute Columns makes all selected columns the same width. Finally, you can use the AutoFit commands to have Word automatically size your table based on various criteria. To move columns or rows, use the Cut, Copy and Paste commands. Now that the rows and tables have been modified, custom spacing can be added within the cell margins. To customize the amount of white space between the table cell borders and their contents, click Table Tools Layout, then Cell Margins. You can also click the Options button in the Table tab of the Table Properties dialog box. Type your cell margins measurements into the dialog box, then select OK. These settings can only be applied to the entire table. What happens if you have more than one table in a document? What other methods can you use to distinguish between them? To add a title to the table, click Table Tools Layout, then Table Properties. This opens the Table Properties dialog box. Click the Alt Text tab. You can enter a title and description for your table in this tab. Click OK to apply the title to the table. It will not be visible in the document, but will be accessible by screen readers and other accessibility programs. Just like Thomas and Westcal, you're now familiar with the tools and features available for selecting, modifying and customizing tables in your Microsoft Word document. Great job.